It was an odd sight to see in the late summer of 1995. Pearl Jam frontman Eddie Vedder, for one afternoon, was selling Ticketmaster tickets, while his group was embroiled in a pretty public multi-year battle with a ticket giant. How did this happen? Well, I'll tell you what, guys, it's not a tragic story, and you can even thank Major League Baseball. Established in 1988, Easy Street Records has been a staple of Seattle for over 3 decades. Fast forward to 1994, and Major League Baseball would go on strike. The strike would last until April of 1995, resulting in a shortened season that year. At the end of the regular season in September, the Seattle Mariners and California Angels finished with the same record. The league added 1 game to the schedule that would see both teams square off to play a tiebreaker to determine the winner of the American League West Division. The winner would advance to the playoffs and play the New York Yankees. The game was scheduled to take place at the Kingdome in Seattle on October 2nd, 1995. Now, keep in mind, the Mariners in their franchise history up until this point had never made the playoffs, so of course there was a lot of excitement around the city. By September of 95, Pearl Jam was about a year removed from their last release, the previous year's Vitalogy. Despite having back-to-back #1 records, the group was going through a lot of turmoil. They were refusing to do music videos for fear of being overexposed. They were also embroiled in a pretty public battle with Ticketmaster that dated back to 1993, and they were, of course, coming to terms with fame. Pearl Jam had brought what they saw as unfair business practices by Ticketmaster to the attention of the US government in the spring of '94. You might remember bassist Jeff Ament and guitarist Stone Gossard testifying in front of Congress that year about the whole issue. If you guys are actually interested, I've done a fairly long, in-depth video on their battle with Ticketmaster. The link is down below. Pearl Jam contended that the box office giant scooped up its competitors and took advantage of its market share by collecting sky-high service fees and signing exclusivity deals with major promoters and concert venues. As a result, Pearl Jam claimed that fans were suffering. But by June of 1995, the US Justice Department closed its investigation, with the ticket giant breathing a sigh of relief. Analysts believe the government folded against Ticketmaster because it would have been a very difficult case to prosecute, primarily because venue owners and promoters had willingly signed those exclusivity deals. Also, the Justice Department was pretty short-staffed and was already preoccupied with an antitrust fight with Microsoft. To some, it was a matter of political convenience. For Pearl Jam, their concerts throughout the middle of the 90s saw them play non-Ticketmaster venues, and the results were mixed. The band had to cancel some shows due to logistical reasons. So in September of 1995, Eddie Vedder was shopping at Easy Street Records. The same day he was at the store, it was announced that the tickets for the Mariners-Angels game would be sold through Ticketmaster agents, one of which was Easy Street Records. In fact, the record store was the only Ticketmaster agent in the western part of Seattle. It was a rainy Sunday when the announcement was made, and Sunday was a day that was typically slow for the store. Normally, only one employee worked that day, but shortly after the announcement was made, thousands of people descended on the store with a lineup that stretched over several city blocks and impacted traffic. Here's Eddie Vedder discussing what happened next.
So I see him the whole thing, and I look at my watch. Now I don't even know about the game. Maybe I know a little bit, but I don't even know about the game. So all I know is that I'm not going to be able to buy my record. The guys, as uncrowded as the store is, it's going to take me a while to purchase the records. So I say, can I just put these in the corner and I'll come back to get them? These are my choices for the day. He says, yeah, no problem. In between phone calls. So I go down to that little bar right down whatever it is and watch the end of the game. Bunch of knuckleheads in there, watch the end of the game. And then I walk out, and then I see this line that's up the street. And I think, that's not good. So I go in, and there's, what's his name? Clark. He's like, okay, here's your thing, and ringing him up, and then answering the phone. And now he's ringing up the person, and the phone rings, and I just grab it. and say it's it's the whole rigmarole. I know it by now. Hey, it's Easy Street. It's, you can buy 2 tickets. Here's the charge, blah, blah, blah.
So now you're the man on the phones.
He looks at me. I go, I got it.
The owner of the store, a guy named Matt Vaughn, was on vacation at the time in Portland and was worried that one employee couldn't handle the swell of visitors. So he quickly rang up the store, but couldn't get through to the employee who was working the shift that day named Clark. Here's the owner of the record store revealing what happened next.
And get on the payphone, call the shop, and guy answers. He says, hey, yeah, Easy Street. I'm like, who the hell is this? This is not how we answer the phone. He's like, oh, man, you guys are so busy right now. I thought I'd help out. I'm like, can you put Clark on the phone? He says, oh, I come in all the time. This is Eddie Vedder. I had a cash register just like this at the gas station I used to work at. I'm like, put Clark on the damn phone, man. I'm like, Clark, is Eddie Vedder really working at the shop right now? He's like, yeah, man, he's actually doing a great job. There's a line up and around the block. We're selling tickets.
You're talking hundreds of people.
Well, more like a couple thousand.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is the only ticket. That's when you bought tickets, right? If you remember, you would have to get in line.
And Pearl Jam's in a lawsuit with Ticketmaster at this time.
I think I maybe mentioned that to Clark. I'm like, that he's in a lawsuit with Ticketmaster right now. We can't be doing this to him. Does he realize what he's doing? So he doesn't seem to have any issue with it. I'm like, okay.
So basically, Eddie Vedder is selling Ticketmaster tickets while embroiled in a very public feud with the company. Matt Vaughn, after talking with Eddie, turned to his girlfriend and said, Eddie Vedder is running the shop today. Vedder worked at the shop for about 4 to 5 hours, selling not just Ticketmaster tickets, but records as well, and choosing the in-store playlist. Vaughn would tell the podcast that at one point during the day, Vedder became aware of a man in a wheelchair waiting in line outside. He went to the man, brought him to the front of the line, stopping traffic in the rain. A woman in line saw this, and here's Eddie discussing what happened next.
She says, I saw what you just did. And inside, already I was beaming. I was like, yes, I know. I did that. I mean, not only am I a civic superhero right now for manning the cash register in the door, but yes, you saw what I just did, and I took care of that man who obviously loves baseball, and here he is, and with all his intense complications that none of us can even imagine. Yes, I did that. Yeah, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm here if you want to give me a hug. I opened my arms up, and she goes, that's bullshit. I was, wait. That's fucking bullshit. You just pulled him out, and then you let him through? You let him through? I was so speechless. She goes, what's your name? I'm gonna get you fired. So, well, that is just fine.
During his shift, Vedder played a variety of artists, including Fugazi, as well as Billy Childish. He'd also play Sonic Youth's new record at the time, Washing Machine, on repeat and urged people buy it. In fact, it would become the store's best-selling record of that month. He also, of course, sold a good deal of Pearl Jam albums and his fellow bandmate Mike McCready's new supergroup at the time, Mad Season. That Sunday shift Eddie worked would result in a lifelong friendship between both Pearl Jam and the store. In fact, Eddie became friends with the staff of the store and invited them to hang out and play music at his place and even play basketball. Pearl Jam would, in fact, return to the store in 2005 to do a surprise show to about 150 people. They would record and release that performance as an EP titled Pearl Jam Live at Easy Street, with it funny enough becoming the store's best-selling CD. As for the Seattle Mariners, they would defeat the Angels 9-1 with Randy Johnson pitching the game. They would go on to defeat the New York Yankees in the American Division League Series, but they would lose to the Cleveland Indians in 6 games in the American League Championship Series. Randy Johnson won the Cy Young Award that year, and Edgar Martinez had a street named after him. Meanwhile, Ken Griffey Jr. would get the highest vote tally in Hall of Fame history. That does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again on Rock and Roll True Stories. Take care.